Hello everyone, XQ Crafting here. Welcome to my channel. If you've been here before, welcome back. Today I would like to share a simple sweet recipe with you to celebrate Valentine's Day. For this whole recipe, you will need 2 cans of sweetened condensed milk, 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder. We would also use hot chocolate powder, but it would taste better with cocoa powder, 2.5 tablespoons of butter, and sprinkles of your preference. For the chocolate batch, in a saucepan, you're gonna add 1 can of condensed milk, like I'm doing here, 3 generous tablespoons of cocoa powder, and you're gonna mix these 2 ingredients very well until they are very well combined. I would like to let you know that you will not mix these 2 ingredients with the stove on. It has to be off, because if you start the stove and you start cooking without them being well combined, it will not mix well and you might end up with lumps. So stir, mix it well, and then you're gonna add the butter. After well combined, turn on the stove and add 1.5 tablespoons of butter. The reason why I say 1.5 tablespoons is because I cut the block of butter in between the 1 and 2 tablespoons. Also, it's totally okay if you just want to add 1 tablespoon of butter. The reason why I add a half tablespoon is because of the chocolate. I was afraid of getting a little bit more drier than I wanted to, so that's why I added like half a tablespoon of butter. But if you want to add just 1, it's totally fine. Once you add the saucepan to the stove and add the butter, you cannot stop stirring. You're gonna have to stir until it's done. And you will cook this in medium heat for roughly 10 minutes. That's what it was for me. Or until you can see the bottom of the pan when tilting a little bit. And you're gonna see how it looks like when I get to that part. If it still looks too liquid, cook for another minute or 2. Just remember that it will harden once you start to cool down. So you don't want to overcook it, because otherwise it's gonna get too hard. Once it's cooked, put in a plate or a bowl greased with butter and let it cool completely. I did not cover mine to not cause any condensation or not to form droplets of water. You can just leave it as is. Just spread it on the bowl or plate and let it cool down. For the second part, which is the white part, add 1 can of condensed milk in the saucepan, 1 tablespoon of butter. Cook a medium heat for 12 minutes or until you can see the bottom of the pan once you tilt it a little bit. And again, once cooked, just put in a bowl or plate greased with butter and let it cool completely. And I just wanted to give you a little bit of a story, like a history of why I chose to do this recipe for Valentine's Day. I used to eat these sweet birthday parties when growing up in my country. And the reason why I thought about sharing this are 2. One is because it's Valentine's Day. And the name of this recipe is Bem Casados, which means we're married. And the other reason is because today is my brother's birthday and it's on Valentine's Day. So since we would normally eat this at birthday parties, I thought it would be a perfect combination. It's Valentine's Day and it's his birthday. So a combination of my childhood with my brother eating these at birthday parties, and is the name of the sweet is also well married, which it goes with the Valentine's Day theme. So for my brother, happy birthday, my brother. I absolutely love you. And for you guys, happy Valentine's Day. So the white part is a little bit chewy. Also, don't let it cook too long because it will get too hard. Remember, that's just condensed milk and butter being cooked. So if you leave it for too long, it will be too hard or too chewy. It's a little bit chewier than the chocolate part, but it's still very, it's still soft and good enough to eat. And after it's completely cooked, put in a plate or bowl greased with butter and let it both cool down completely. So once it's completely cool, just grease your clean hands with a bit of butter and roll each one. So you're gonna roll the dark part first, the chocolate part, and then the white part separately. And even with the butter in your hand, it's gonna still be sticky a few times, so you're gonna have to wash your hands before you finish the whole thing. After you finish rolling both, just get one part of each and roll it together. And that's the reason why you don't want to make them too big, or you will be gigantic once you put both parts together. To put the little candy inside, I just had this red cupcakes cup, and because of the candy is kind of greasy and it's gonna like bleed through the paper, I added a little piece of plastic. In that plastic, I cut it those little baggies for putting candy for kids birthday party. So I just cut those, and then a little bit bigger than the mini cupcake cup, I put the little candy in the plastic and then put it inside the little paper. And I'm making it feel without any sprinkles because I really like that. And then I made a feel with white sprinkles and then pink sprinkles because I had those. The traditional one are made with granulated sugar. I was never a fan of it because it makes it even sweeter than already is. This is a very sweet thing, but is in bite size. You can just eat one if you like it. But I thought with the sugar, it makes it even sweeter, and I really didn't like that much. So I would like the ones that it doesn't have sugar added to it on top of it. Or in this case, I tested with the white sprinkle and the pink sprinkles, and I added to the sprinkle as I go. And it doesn't add much of any taste at all. It just is. I know it's sugar, but it's not as sweet as just pure sugar. It just adds a crunch to it, but it doesn't really add more like this sweetness of just granulated sugar. So I liked it with the sprinkles. I think it tastes good because the sprinkle, like I said, doesn't add more of any taste. It just add the crunch to it. It is sugar, but it's a lot less sweeter than granulated sugar. So you can add granulated sugar if you want. Just roll in like in the granulated sugar. I just didn't want that. And of course, I wanted to add the pink sprinkles too because it's Valentine's Day. So I want the candy to be pretty. But I tasted a few and they do taste delicious. So because the little balls I made are not the same size, I had like 13 total, and then the chocolate part I still had a few tablespoons left. But if you make them all the same size, it's probably gonna be like 25 to 30. I absolutely love it. They taste good. If you like this kind of candy, you're gonna like it. If you have any questions about the recipe, please leave me a comment below the video. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, please let me know why. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you like my content. Subscribing is free and it helps my little channel grow. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Valentine's Day. Bye!